Alright, so 2021 had a lot of good games as well as some bad ones. But in this video, we'll be taking a look at 10 games that I'm hyped for in 2022. Okay, do keep in mind that this list is in no particular order apart from the last game that I'm gonna mention in this video being my most hyped. So with that out of the way, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video. Alright, so in our number 10 spot we got Grid Legends. Now, one of the reasons why I'm hyped for Grid Legends is because it looks really fun to play. And when I saw how fun it was to play the game, I was almost sold on it, but not as much as the other games on that list. What really sold me on the game is that the amount of types of events you could do. Like compared to, most racing games out there, which only do one type of event, or at the very least a few. Right? There's nothing wrong with that, but it's also sometimes refreshing to have a game that offers more. The thing that gets me even more hyped for Grid Legends is that the fact that you get to create your own events, which is not as seen as much in racing games. Honestly, with racing games is that they tend to just give you a specific track, right, that you have to play. The only way you could customize it is that you get to change the type of car you race the track on with. And games that tend to, actually give you this feature, to the same extent as, Grid Legends, is Forza Horizon 5, and that's only on Xbox, which is kinda sad. I wish it was on PlayStation. And also it's really great to see that Codemasters are putting that kind of feature in a multi-plat racing game. It makes it good because more people could access that kind of feature. Now let's get to the part where I'm worried for Grid Legends. Honestly, I want to get this out of the way right now. One of the things I'm worried about for Grid Legends is that the fact that it could come out buggy. And a buggy game could sometimes even hurt the game in a large extent. Look at Battlefield 2042. And another worry for me when it comes to Grid Legends is that I don't want it to become another Need for Speed Most Wanted, the one that came out in 2012, not the 2005 one. And in Most Wanted 2012, the handling for the cars was atrocious. It was horrible. No racing game should have to be like that. Ever. And with number 10 out of the way, let's get to number 9. Okay, so at the number 9 spot we got Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Okay, so there are a few reasons why I'm hyped for Tiny Tina Legends. I'm gonna be honest, this game looks sick. And honestly, looking at the advertising for the game, I feel as though I'll have lots of fun with Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Another good thing I could point out with Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is that the art style is pretty awesome. I mean, it's not common for Borderlands to have a really good art style. I mean, for a while the franchise has gotten an amazing art style. But with Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, the art direction is pretty amazing. Also, another cool thing I want to point out that I've seen in the trailers is that there's a unicorn. You know what? I love unicorns. They're awesome. And this makes me want to buy the game even more. Unicorns are cool. I don't get why people hate on unicorns. They're generally just the best animal, ever. And the last thing I want to point about Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is that the direction it's going. I'll say this, although I haven't played any D&D, right? I will say this, I like the fact that they chose a D&D direction for it. Honestly, all I will say about this game right now, right in the second, is that I will buy it. I am sold on it. Maybe not in launch, maybe in the future, but I am sold on the game. And honestly, I don't have any concerns for the game as of right now, because it just looks so good. And with that out of the way, let's get to the next game on the list. Alright, so on our number 8 spot, it's Test Drive Unlimited, Solar Crown. First, before we point out to the positives and why I'm hyped for it, let's get down to why I'm sort of concerned for the game. I'm gonna point this out and just say there is no gameplay of the game yet, so it could go anywhere. Do keep in mind that the gameplay could be either very good or just go outright, horrible. Right now, that's all I'm concerned about the game, but apart of that, there are multiple reasons why I'm hyped for Test Drive Unlimited. Because it's a new racing game, that means we'll get more cars, right? That's how racing games work. But with the next Test Drive Unlimited game, they could have a lot more variety. Okay, so another reason why I'm also hyped for Test Drive Unlimited is that the fact that I've played like the previous games, but not 2. I haven't played Test Drive Unlimited 2. I've only played the first one. Also, the first Test Drive Unlimited game was way ahead of its time. It was like Forza Horizon before Forza Horizon existed. Also, another reason why I'm hyped for Test Drive Unlimited is that it's gonna be set in Hong Kong, and it's rare to see games that are set in that area. Like, the only game that I've played that is set in Hong Kong is Sleeping Dogs, and that's about it. I wish that Hong Kong was used way more in games, and I'm really happy to see that they're using Hong Kong for the next Test Drive Unlimited game. And honestly, that's all I have to say about Test Drive Unlimited for now, and we'll go on to the next game on the list. Alright, so in our number 7 spot, we got Killer Bean. One of the reasons why I'm hyped for the next Killer Bean game is because I love the Killer Bean franchise. I have watched the first Killer Bean movie, and that's the only Killer Bean movie that's out there, right? And I loved it. And for us to see an actual game coming, not just some silly mobile game, but a PC game, is honestly exciting. Dude, I'm not talking about just like the Killer Bean game actually being a thing. I've seen the gameplay, it's out on like YouTube, right? And the game looks amazing. The Killer Bean video game looks like Max Payne, and I haven't played any of the Max Payne games. I am planning on to, but I'm willing to pick up Killer Bean first before Max Payne. I'll go out of my way and say this, I will happily pay 70, not 70, because 70 bucks is too much for a video game, but at maximum 60 bucks, because that's how, like, amazing the game looks. It actually looks like a AAA title. I know this seems like a stretch, but to me that's true. To me that's what it looks like. It's a shame that's like all I could talk about in terms of the Killer Bean game as of the making of this video, right? But I am planning on making some content for when the game comes out. And with that out of the way, let's get on to the next game of the list. And on number 6, we have Forspoken. Now, I will say this about the game real quick, and I could only give it that, is that the gameplay is pretty good. Like, I think as though the game is just gonna be pure fun from like start to finish, but that's all I could about give for it. However though, I am hyped, but at the same time I am concerned for the game. Here's the first thing I am worried about when it comes to Forspoken, it coming out buggy. Square Enix is a company that doesn't have like the best reputation right now, especially after Avengers and especially after the NFT thing they tried to do. So in a way, you can't really blame me for being skeptical about the game. Also, another reason that I might think that the game has a chance to, not be as good as it looks, is that chances are the story might be bad. Like I said, this is Square and they don't have the best reputation, so there's a reason why I'm worried about this. All I could say about the game is that I'm optimistic that it might be good, but at the same time I'm cautiously optimistic so I don't hype myself a bit too much and then the game might end up bad. It's honestly kind of sad that that's some of the only things I could say about the game. But that's about it. However though, I do expect the game to be good, but at the same time expect it to not be as good. In fact, maybe it might be bad. That also, I took that into consideration. But I do hope that Forspoken comes out good, and that's just me being kinda pessimistic about the game and Square. And with that out of the way, let's get to the next game on the list. And our number 5 spot, we got Hogwarts Legacy. Honestly, one of the reasons why I'm hyped for Hogwarts Legacy, although I'm not a Harry Potter fan, not yet at least, because if Hogwarts Legacy turns out to be good, I might watch some of the Harry Potter movies. That's how I also got into Star Wars, is because of the Star Wars games. I've played some of the Star Wars games, now I want to watch some of like the Star Wars movies. And also, one of the other reasons why I'm hyped for this game, and this is going to be the last reason, is that like the game concept just sounds amazing. It sounds like the $1 million idea that everybody wants. So the game has really high potential, and a considerable amount of people are willing to, pay money to see that potential actually not be wasted. However though, I cannot be also too excited about the game or have my expectations too high, because it might not turn out good because we don't even have any gameplay yet. And who knows, if by April or August we don't have any gameplay, chances are just not gonna come out until like the end of the year. If that's the case, then it's alright. I want it to be good. That's why games tend to get delayed, is so they could be, polished and finished. That's all I will say for Hogwarts Legacy, and now it's time to go to the next game on the list. Now, in the number 4 spot, we got Gotham Knights. Alright, so I don't even know where to start with this one. That's how much hyped I am for Gotham Knights. I am genuinely excited for that game. Let's start with the multiplayer. The multiplayer looks to actually be more fun and more co-op-y, which I like co-op multiplayer more than PvP. That's mainly due to the fact that PvP games are more like try-hardy. So you're gonna have to try a bit too hard just to, enjoy the game. Which to me, when I see a lot of people try-harding in a PvP game, I kind of get, turned off by the game itself. And another reason why I'm hyped for Gotham Knights is that you get to play more than just one single character. So there isn't Batman, so Batman in the story is dead. So we have Batgirl, Robin, Red Hood, and Nightwing. And honestly, that is a great selection. It's kind of good to give the spotlight to these 4 characters in a video game, because we barely see them in like a video game that's not named Batman. And honestly, that idea is great. A lot of people wanted a Nightwing or a Robin game, or a Red Hood game in fact. I wanted to play as Red Hood in a video game for a long time, but I just can't. But with Gotham Knights coming out, I get to play as Red Hood, which is honestly just amazing. It's already sold me on the game as soon as I saw Red Hood as a playable character. And what makes it even better is that the game looks great. It looks like fun. I know this may sound dumb, but it is true, but DC games tend to be better than Marvel games. To me, one of the reasons why that's like the case is because Marvel just sucks at licensing. Let's just be clear. Like, besides the Insomniac games, right? The only like good Marvel game that I've seen in recent years was Guardians of the Galaxy. Maybe if I'm correct, the most recent Marvel Alliance game. That's about it. And that's why I think like that's the case. Also, another thing that I want to talk about, and that's kind of irritates me, is that we don't have like a lot of info for the game. Like, I want to see more gameplay. I want to see more gameplay of Red Hood, Nightwing, Robin. Like, we've seen gameplay for Robin and Batgirl, but that's about it. And the last time I have seen like info about the game was in DC fandom. But I do hope they kind of share more info about the game sooner, like later this year. Well, that's enough of me talking about Gotham Knights. Now let's get on the next game of the list. And in our number 3 spot, we got Suicide Squad. I'm not gonna say the full name because it's a mouthful. Let's get this out of the way. One of my main problems about the game right now is that the fact that there is not enough info on it to justify, the price tag that most AAA games are on. I think it has the same problem as Gotham Knights, but I'm pretty sure as time goes on, we'll get more info about the game eventually. It's just not as of the making of this video. Now let's get to why I am hyped for Suicide Squad. Is that the fact that I've always wanted a Suicide Squad game. Also, I'm really glad that the Suicide Squad are now getting the spotlight in gaming. Because when it comes to DC games, it's either just Batman, and that's about it. We don't get any other, DC games besides just Batman. That's most of the time. Sometimes with DC games, they are willing to, give other heroes the spotlight, but generally, most of the time, they give the spotlight to Batman. Also, another reason why I'm hyped for Suicide Squad is that the gameplay just looks phenomenal. Out of all of the games I've seen that are coming out this year, this one seems to be the best. Well, okay, one of the best, because there's another game on the list that I consider to look the best out of all of them. What I also like about Suicide Squad is that there are 4 characters, and they play differently from each other, which is good. Also, one of the other reasons why I'm hyped for Suicide Squad is because you get to fight the Justice League. I mean, it says in the name of the game. You get to fight superheroes like Green Lantern, The Flash, Superman, and honestly, that is pretty amazing. Honestly, the fact that we're fighting the Justice League makes me a lot more hyped for the game. And that's it for number 3. Now let's get on to the next game on the list. Alright, so we're giving number 2 to LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Let's just go over some things I am hyped for when it comes to LEGO Star Wars. As usual with the games on this list, the gameplay looks phenomenal. Even for a LEGO game, it looks just awesome. When I say for a LEGO game, I mean these games, right, tend to be exceptional for better or for worse. This game looks exceptional for the better. Also, as a person who plays these type of games a lot, of course I'll pick them up because I love LEGO games. They're legit one of my favorite genres of games of all time. So what I love about LEGO Star Wars is that in this game you get to travel to different planets, kind of similar to Force Awakens, but to a much bigger extent. And also, I think the next LEGO Star Wars game is going to be the biggest LEGO game yet. And I say yet because these LEGO games tend to be bigger and bigger as time goes on. And I don't want to say the biggest ever because later on I might be wrong. I think that's about it for me talking about LEGO Star Wars. Now let's get on to the final game on the list. And on the final game on the list, it is Saints Row. One of the reasons why I'm hyped for this is because I'm a huge fan of open world crime games. I don't think we even see enough of them, mainly due to them being really expensive to make. Also, if you want to blame a set of people, I kinda blame the Rockstar community. Like the really bad part of the Rockstar community, the ones that call everything a GTA clone. So if you don't do that, then it's all good. You're not the problem. They are. The ones that call every game that resembles GTA a GTA clone. However though, I won't dwell too much on that in this video. I might do it in another video, maybe someday. For now, let's talk another reason why I'm hyped for Saints Row. Is that the gameplay looks just phenomenal. And if you were to ask me which game that is coming out this year has the best gameplay, in my opinion, I would say Saints Row. I say in my opinion because usually that stuff is highly opinionated. Usually whenever we say what's the best thing or what's the best that, it's usually opinionated and is not taken as fact. The reason why I'm hyped for Saints Row is that there is a lot of cool things that I've seen from the game. From the little footage we've seen, there is a lot of cool things that we've seen from the game. We got hoverboards, wingsuits, the game actually having more options whether you want to go with really wacky or somewhat down to earth. And you know, having that choice of being either wacky woohoo game or, you know, somewhat down to earth game is really good because at one hand it somewhat makes the OG like part of Saints Row happy, yet the ones that want the wacky games, right, they're happy too. And another reason why I'm hyped for it is because I am a huge fan of Saints Row. I've played almost all of the games beside a couple of games being Get Out of Hell and Agents of Mayhem. Right? Besides that, I've played all of the Saints Row games, besides also one. One, because it's like on the Xbox 360 and I haven't gotten like the emulator for it to work. That's about it for me talking about Saints Row. For now, I will be talking about it in a future video, definitely. Hey guys, that's gonna be it for the video. Hold on, before I let you go, I want to make a quick channel update. I might not upload content as much, maybe at least once a month to around like once a week. But once I'm done with like school, I will upload a little bit more. Okay, a little bit is a big understatement, but you get what I'm meaning. Also, if you like the video, make sure you hit the like button. If you dislike the video, then you can hit the dislike button. If you like my content, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Also, if you want to, you could comment down below what games you are hyped for that are coming out this year, or hell, you could even comment down what games you're hyped for that are coming out next year. Anyways, that's it for the video. I'll see you guys later.